Welcome to another video, guys. This is one of the most critical videos for all of you applying to the fall 22 session, or all of you who have applied to the fall 22 session, because let me tell you, the results are starting to come out. And in fact, three of the topmost major universities which you guys apply to have already given out the admits. All right, this does not mean that they've given out all the admits, but you can basically gauge the trend over here. You can understand, okay, these are the kinds of admits that you can expect if you apply to these universities even now, because their deadlines have still not gone by. A lot of these universities are still accepting applications. So without further ado, let me actually take you to ymgrad.com. By the way, did you notice we did a makeover of the website? For instance, if you open up someone's profile over here, you will find that the profile page in itself looks very different, right? There is, of course, the profile photo. There is one of these covers. You can basically have your own cover, and this whole thing, and the resume, etc. All of these things have basically been modulated. I hope that this looks much better than the previous version. Anyway, we're going to go on to the resources, and from there we're going to go on to decisions section. This is where we are going to be finding the admits and rejects. Very important page, guys. Now you'll find all kinds of admits and rejects over here. People who have applied, also these applications are also over there. But what you want to do is you want to go into decision type and you want to select admit. As soon as you do that, those almost 8,000 results boil down to about 3,500 results, right? From there, what we want to do now, you can see all these admits that have come in, etc. We're going to be focusing on a couple of important ones over here. The first one that I want to talk about is the university called Northeastern University. Very important university. I know a lot of you guys apply to this place, right? Now, not all of the decisions have been given out yet, but you can see that a couple of people have already started to get their decisions. For instance, take a look. A lot of these people have gotten decisions around December 23rd or January the 5th. You can see a lot of these people have actually submitted these on the same dates. So you can understand that, okay, a lot of ECE decisions, right? Electrical and computer engineering decisions have come out on 23rd of December. And you can see the kinds of profiles that have been accepted. 8.7 out of 10, decent GRE score, decent TOEFL score, no work experience required though, okay? Going on to the next admit, you can see that this is again CGPA 8.14, decent GRE, decent TOEFL, no work experience, and a little bit of research papers. And again, similar profile over here as well. You can see decent GPA. Okay, the GRE is a little bit lower, but the GPA is higher in this case, right? And then TOEFL is decent, but no work experience. So you can see that these are starting to look very similar. For those of you who applied for the electrical and computer engineering program, most of the admits should be out at this point. However, I'm not saying that all of them are out yet, so they are certainly going to be rolling out more in the future, I'm sure. CS admit, one of them we can see over here, Jan 5th. They got, I know a couple of people have already gotten other decisions such as business analytics, project management. These are also going on in parallel, but again, from right here over here, we can see that again, the whole profile, the statistics over here, as you can see, they're very similar. NEU is being very safe this year, and the kind of admits they are rolling out are basically decent profiles which are not too great as well, or not exceptional, but these profiles are actually pretty great if you ask me, right? Pretty decent, pretty great profiles getting into NEU, which is usually the trend for NEU fall statistics. Last year in spring, I remember they did something crazy, the kind of admits, at least. I think this was actually for spring 22 only, when they actually did not really give out much admits. In fact, they gave a lot of rejects out, and the only admits that people were getting were, over 9.5 or, 9 CGPA. They were actually not looking at all other statistics last year, it seems. But right now, things are definitely starting to take a turn for the better. I'm going to be taking you to the next university over here, and you guys have applied to these universities like crazy. Like the next one especially, I'm going to be talking about UT Dallas, and you can take a look. There's almost an unlimited supply of decisions over here, because I think everyone who applies, most of you guys, like, some of you have this university in your safe ones, some of you have this in your moderate ones, and very rarely, but some of you actually have this in your ambitious ones as well. So I think UTD is something that most students today are applying to, and I think that's personally why I prefer to talk about it as well, because there's a lot of information available. So you can see UTD has given out decisions somewhere in the first or the second week of January for the most part. They were also giving out decisions back in December. So they've been all over the place. Almost every single week they have been giving out admits, right? Now, in terms of the profiles and the programs, you can see there's one for Information Technology and Management, right? MSITM. There's one for MSBA, Business Analytics. There's one for CS, again, Computer engineering. There's business analytics again. A lot of business analytics admits, by the way, which came around 23rd of December. You can see right here, around the second or third week of December for the most part, you're able to see some of these business analytics ones. And of course, MSITM are also there, right? So there's a lot of data over here, a lot of data. You can actually keep scrolling down and you'll find most of this is from fall 22. Now, in terms of the profiles, let's be very, very honest with each other. UTD is not a top ranked university. It's not in the top 10, top 20, but they're actually accepting pretty decent profiles over here. You can see 7.6 out of 10. Pretty decent admit, right? Business analytics usually requires a little bit of work experience, and that this person has, so they're able to make it. MSITM, very similar scenario, and you can see pretty great profile. Research papers may not be there, but you know, you will usually see MSITM admit. Even if this was 0, research papers at least was 0, you would have seen that this was still an admit for this profile, right? Then there's the CS admits, of course. CS, you know, very, very great profile, as you can see in terms of the GPA. The GRE score, however, is a little bit low. The IELTS score is okayish, work experience is okayish, research papers are okayish, right? So there's that. But then there's another profile again, when you can see the engineering ones are being a little bit ambitious, right? This year, the engineering ones, the CS, CE, you know, all of these, the admits that you saw from Northeastern also and from UT Dallas also are usually above 8 pointers in terms of the GPA. Whereas if you look at business analytics, you will see that, you know, even when the GPA is in 7 pointers, right, or 77%, something like that, you're still able to make it to some of these decent universities like UT Dallas. And I believe the Naveen Jindal School of Management, right, for UTD, it's actually a pretty well reputed school. So getting into UT Dallas with, you know, a 7-pointer GPA, I think that's a very, very good statistic. You guys should not let it go, to be very honest, unless until of course you have some better admit. But right, you can see that you know, even 9.4 people have the admit, even, you know, 8.9 people have the admits. You know, apart from that, the profile overall is decent, right? Some people have applied without the GRE as well, it seems, right? So you can actually go ahead and you can compare these profiles. For now, what I can see is they have given out the admits to the really, really top-notch profiles, and what they're hoping is that later on, I believe, and this is generally how universities do it as well, the rest of the profiles, let's say someone has a 7.9 or 7.8, right, GPA, and overall, apart from that, everything else is decent, just like these other profiles. What they'll do is they'll put it on the wait list, and what that means is these people will actually get the admits, but they will get the admits later on, because these universities are still accepting applications. So if your profile, let's say, has better statistics than those profiles on, you know, the wait list, well, you will first get the admit before them. So that's generally how it works. Until they fill the whole array of seats they have, they keep on working in a priority basis, that okay, first give the admits to these people who are really the cream batch, the top notch. After that, you know, slowly and slowly the admits start to trickle down towards the other kind of profiles as well, right? So that's generally how it works. But you can see definitely, you know, even if you had a 7-pointer right here, you can see 71.2%, of course, right? And a decent amount of work experience, you're still able to get into programs like business analytics. All right, let's move on to the final university over here. And of course, you know, these are all the admits that came in the months of December and January. I'm talking about those, nothing else right now. For fall 2022, the final university that we're going to be talking about is actually a very GPA centric university, and a very few admits I could find over here, but I know that they've given out the admits because, you know, some of the people I'm working with got the admit. Does not mean that they have given out all the admits out there. You know, they are still processing them, like I said, but some of them are out. So USC, University of Southern California, one of my, you know, favorite universities, very close to my heart. Of course, you guys know that I actually went there. But in terms of the applications, right, this year also, they have been very, very consistent with their performance. CGPA is, you know, you can see over here, 9.66. Really high GPAs are getting into these kind of universities, you know. USC, you know, when it comes to Purdue, UCLA, usually very highly GPA centric, most of these, right? And right here also you can see 9.15 out of 10, 9.6 out of 10. These are for computer science, by the way. And really the key is that your profile has to be the really top-notch kind of a profile. Everything else also you can see over here is pretty much top-notch. Everything else. See, one thing you can gather is mostly you do not need a lot of research, mostly you do not need a lot of work experience, maybe 1-2 years, but I know people who get in without any sort of work experience whatsoever as well. Some of the decisions rolled in around Jan 5th, I can see some around the 3rd or the last week of December. So these will continue to roll in. USC, I know they personally like to take things in a rolling by rolling manner. So basically, first week they'll give out some admits in January, second, third week they'll continue to do that as and when the time passes. So again, very, very similar statistic as you can see from last year fall. Also very similar, things are going great in terms of USC as well. UT Dallas, great university, great place. I would highly exhort you to apply if you haven't already, and if you are looking for a safe or a moderate university. And of course, apart from that, NEU, of course, moderate to ambitious, usually for decent profiles. Pretty great university. All right, hopefully you can understand that this page is actually a gold mine. If you actually use this right, if you actually use this information right, you can actually bookmark some of these, you can actually do a lot of stuff over here. But really, the most important part is do this research on your own, and you actually don't need to work with anyone per se for your admissions. And if you're still looking for fall 22 and you haven't started your process and you're really in the crosshair about whether you should apply or not, my advice is to apply, and later on worry about, hey, not getting any admits. No problem, you can apply for the next term. And in fact, if you are looking for some help and you want some help directly from me, you can take a look at our services. For instance, if you're going for the complete application help, in that case also we're going to be supporting you for 1 full year. So fall 22, you don't want to use your services for that, no problem, you change your mind, or maybe you just apply to 2 or 3 universities. The rest of the universities can be for spring 23, completely up to you. And that's my plan also for you guys. Even if you're doing this by yourself, don't waste 1 year or 6 months of your time just thinking about applying to the next term. Apply to fall 22. It's still a good time. It's not too late, trust me. All right, I hope to see you in the next one. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram for more such freshly brewed content. Goodbye and take care for now.